Hey everybody, welcome to Introduction to Deep Learning. This is Lecture 0, Logistics for Spring 2024. So let's get started. So what we're going to be covering during this lecture is the introduction, who should be taking this course, the objective and syllabus, course logistics, homeworks, quizzes, projects, and grading, teamwork, mentoring, cheating, and some of the challenges that you might face during this course. So let's get started with the introduction. Neural networks, as we know, are taking over. A neural network is a method in artificial intelligence that teaches computers to process data in a way that is inspired by the human brain. They've become one of the major thrust areas recently in various tasks like pattern recognition, prediction, analysis problems. They've also established state-of-the-art in many problems, exceeding the previous benchmarks by large margins. So you might be familiar with some of these breakthroughs, right? Siri, Cortana, Alexa for audio and speech recognition, for vision and perception, face detection, recognition, segmentation. All of these tasks are all breakthroughs with neural networks. Self-driving cars, music generation, Suno AI's text-to-LLM, text-to-music LLM models, DALL-E, and of course the elephant in the room, GPT-4. All of these are possible because of neural networks. So now moving on to who should take the course. So this course is designed for students from any background that want to learn deep learning. Students who are willing to put in 12 to 20 hours a week on this course. Those who give continuous feedback and engage on Piazza, who are mature and want to be challenged. And for those who want to be ready for AI research and engineering roles in their careers. So some of the preparation for this course, some required classes or prerequisite knowledge that we expect would be fundamentals in programming or equivalent, Python, maybe some familiarity with PyTorch. Some of the highly recommended classes that we suggest are calculus and linear algebra. Vector calculus and software engineering are nice to haves. So at a high level, these are the course objectives, right? We want you to understand neural networks. We want you to be able to comprehend models that do the previously mentioned tasks that we just covered, and perhaps even build them. We also want you to fearlessly design, build, and train networks for various tasks, right? We want to make it easy for you to approach them. Some of the concepts that we want you to understand include some historical perspective on neural networks and some of the architectures that we will cover. We want you to understand the types of neural networks and underlying ideas, learning, training, practical issues that you might face during that time, and architectures and various applications. In a practical perspective, we also want you to get familiar with how you train neural networks, how you implement neural network architectures, and state-of-the-art solutions for some tasks and problems, right? Overall, the goal is to set you up for further research or work in whatever area that you choose to pursue deep learning with. Some of the topics are included right here. We go over multi-layer perceptrons, CNNs, RNNs, Boltzmann machines, generative models, adversarial models, graph neural networks, transformers. Some of the topics will also include computer vision, text processing, machine translation, speech recognition, right? All of these are going to be covered in this course. The reading materials for this course and the list of books are all provided on the course webpage. Additional reading material will also appear on the course pages. Of course, we start with introducing the instructors and the TAs, Biksha, Raj, and Rita Singh. The TAs, the list of them with email IDs will be provided on the course page. Myself, I'm Vish, and this is, I think, my 4th time being a TA on this course. We have TAs from the Pittsburgh and Kigali campuses. We have remote and in-person office hours. Times are subject to change. The times and the details of each TA's office hour sessions will be released as you approach the beginning of the semester. The website is given right there, which is deeplearning.cs.cmu.edu. You can go there and refer to the details that we've covered so far and more. Lectures. So in-class lectures will primarily be held in person. Live streaming will be done for remote sections. They will also be recorded and uploaded to the course website. It's important that you view the lectures even if you think you know the topic, because your marks will also depend on viewing lectures. We emphasize attendance, so we will monitor them, and more on this will be covered in the later slides. Some lectures may also be conducted entirely over Zoom. The schedule for this and as and when it changes will be updated on Piazza or the course website respectively. So discussions. The primary discussion forum is Piazza. We highly suggest you be updated with the recent threads. We understand there's a lot to cover and there's going to be a lot of posts, but keeping tabs on Piazza will ensure that you can communicate successfully with the course staff, as well as get communication from the course staff on various course-related items on time, right? You don't want to be knowing things or asking things late. Compute infrastructure will be giving you AWS credits. We'll also teach you how to set up Google Cloud and use their free credits, and Kaggle as well. So lecture attendance, as we mentioned previously, you get marks for attendance. Our performance metrics over the semester show a clear positive correlation, right? A distinct correlation between attendance and course scores. Those who attend lectures do better in the course. We also notice a distinct inverse correlation, right, between the amount of help you require on Piazza and office hours if you don't attend the lectures, because you need the knowledge from the lectures for the TAs and the course staff to communicate with you effectively so that the context is similar, right? To encourage attendance, we assign 1 mark for attendance, 1% of your total grade for 11,685, 785, and 18,786, 1.33% for 485. This can be the difference between a B and A, right? So it is important that you attend lectures. We will track lecture attendance. We get stats from your lecture attendance based on your participation in in-class polls. Polls will be conducted via Piazza for in-person lectures. It is also recommended you install the Piazza application and also have the website handy, right? Lectures conducted over Zoom will use Zoom polls. Use of electronic devices during in-person lectures is highly discouraged, apart from attending in-class polls, of course. Students in Silicon Valley and other time zones where your local time is before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m. for the class may alternately watch lectures on MediaTek. MediaTek records who watched and for how long. Entire lectures should be viewed, and if viewed in MediaTek, the lectures for each week must be viewed before 8 a.m. of the Monday of the following week, right? Otherwise, it doesn't count. So the precise mechanism for computing class participation scores will be decided at the end of the semester. Our advice, as mentioned there, is simply to just attend. The lecture schedule will be posted on the website. The schedule for the latter half of the semester may vary a bit, mostly because guest lectures are, schedules are a little fuzzy, and guest lectures will be announced and determined towards the latter part of the semester. So recitations are labs. We have 14 labs, excluding homework boot camps. Boot camps are supposed to be some of the sessions that course staff conducts to get you started with the homeworks. And the labs will be on every Friday of the semester, right? We want it to be hands-on, so we will cover implementation specifics and code while you follow along and do it yourselves with us. More of a hands-on exercise or an experiment that you will be doing with us so that you can learn how to code as well on the fly. This is very important if you wish to get the maximum out of the course naturally, and you might find yourself being capable of implementing quite a few things as a result of these labs by the end of the semester. So we highly encourage you attend it. The topic list will be on the course schedule. And even if you think you know everything, I strongly recommend that you attend these labs. You might get a lot of knowledge on how to implement specific architectures, implement specific tasks or solutions to tasks, things like that out of these labs. So homeworks, quizzes, onto evaluation, right? Scores are evaluated based on 3 types of tests, which is weekly quizzes, homeworks, team projects, apart from 11,485 students. So for weekly quizzes, there are 10 multiple choice questions. You get 3 attempts per quiz. So you can attempt a quiz 3 times, and the best of 3 attempts will be your final score. Related to topics covered that week. So the quiz for that weekend will be based on the lectures that were covered for that week. So the quizzes are released Friday night, 11:59, and closed on Sunday night. This may occasionally shift, don't panic, right? There will be 14 total quizzes. We will consider the best 12. This is expected to account for any circumstance-based inability to work on quizzes, right? You could skip up to 2, so keep that in mind. Slides often contain a lot more information than is presented in class, right? There are hidden slides as well that the professor will have, and it is your responsibility to be able to go through the lecture slides, understand what was covered in the lecture, what was not, and use that to attempt the quizzes. So quizzes will contain questions from topics that are on the slides but not presented in class. They will also include topics covered in class but not on the slides specifically, right? There will be questions based on latest research papers on the quiz as well. The links to the papers will be provided so that you can go through them and then answer the questions better. So for homeworks, there will be recitation 0 exercises and 4 interim homeworks. There will be a set of labs / recitation zeros that are released for you. You can go through them before the semester starts. The recitation exercise, that is preparatory material for the course, specifically recitation 0. So if you're completely new to this, you can use recitation 0 as a starting point to understand or at least bridge some of the gap between the prerequisites and getting started with homework 1 at the least. Homeworks 1 to 4 all have 2 parts. Part 1 is supposed to be auto-graded problems with deterministic solutions. You must upload them to AutoLab. Part 2 will be open problems posted on Kaggle as competitions, right? You will sign up for those competitions individually, and you will train models and networks to solve specific tasks or problems and submit your scores there. And it will be an open, public, private leaderboard system, and the grading will be based on both the public and the private score that you get for the task. So the bonus homeworks, there will be bonus homeworks associated with some of the homeworks or all. There will be a separate AutoGrad bonus homework, which is supposed to, which exists outside of the regular homework bonuses. These marks will not contribute to the final grading curves, but give you the chance to make up for marks missed elsewhere, right? Part 1 of the homeworks evaluate your ability to code neural nets on your own from scratch. So all the homework part 1s for the 4 homeworks, they will evaluate your ability to code neural nets on your own from scratch. If you implement all mandatory and bonus questions of part 1 of all homeworks, you will hopefully have all the components necessary to construct your own little neural network toolkit of your own called MyTorch, similar to some of the Andrei Karpathy videos you might have seen online, perhaps. The homeworks are auto-graded. Be careful about following instructions carefully. The auto-grader is set up on a computer with specific versions of various packages, so make sure you have your environments set up correctly, right? Coding environments with the packages. Your code must conform to their restrictions. If not, the auto-grader will fail and give you errors of 0 marks, even if your code is functional on your own computer. So we recommend submitting to AutoLab to just make sure you're doing the right things, right? Don't wait until the end and then discover that, man, you had like a package issue, a library issue that you should have sorted out way before. So submission before the early submission deadline will get you an early submission bonus, which is supposed to be, again, bonus points, right? Part 2 of every homework tests your ability to solve complex problems on real-world data sets. The early submission deadline, as we mentioned before, encourages you to submit early and get started with the homework early, right? Instead of pushing it later in the deadline, later towards the deadline, to the end of the deadline, or maybe a week before the deadline. And I highly, strongly recommend you follow the early submission deadlines for part 2s. They are a mandatory 10 out of 100 points. The remaining 90 out of 100 points are determined based on your final score relative to the cutoffs that you release for the homework part 2s. So, like I said, the part 2s will have a leaderboard system, and you will be competing with other students for your position on the leaderboard. And the scores that you get there, there will be certain specific cutoffs that determine how much points you get for that homework, right? Say if you consider accuracy as a metric, maybe 80% gets you 90 points. Maybe 70% gets you another specific score. And scores in between them are interpolated as well, right? All of this will be elaborated as you get to the homework, and the details of this are also available on the course website, where you can read about grading and how exactly the interpolation works. As you know right there, yeah. So standard cutoffs are high cutoff, medium, low, very low cutoff, and then a no submission also gets you 0 points. The high cutoff is worth 90 points, medium is 70 points, low is 50 points, very low cutoffs nets you 30 points. This is all after 10 points of early submission, which will then be added to your total for the cutoffs, right? Your score is linearly interpolated between cutoffs. If an 85% accuracy model is for the high cutoff and a 75% is for the medium, a model with 80% will get you 80 out of 90 points, right? There is a fifth bonus cutoff for extra credit that is determined by the highest scoring student. If the highest accuracy achieved on the task by a student in the course is 92%, then that student will get 10 extra credit bonus points. And anyone between 85 and 92 will get 100 plus, again, having similar interpolation between 85 and 92, right? So, yes, that's how it works. That 100 plus is assuming you have 10 points from ESD and 85% being the high cutoff, naturally. So you get 100 plus some extra points for scoring above 85 but below 92. Homework deadlines, there are going to be multiple, as we just talked about. There's going to be an early submission deadline, and there's going to be an on-time submission deadline, and there's also going to be a late/slack deadline. The auto-graded component has a separate deadline, deterministic component, the part ones. The Kaggle component is what I just elaborated on, where it has early submission, on-time, and slack, later slack. The auto-graded homework part ones have a early submission bonus deadline and a straightforward on-time deadline, right? Those are the two things that the homework part ones have. So early submission is worth 10% of your grade, right? It assumes you've started the assignment. This enables you to at least get started. And if you're facing difficulties early on, it's easy for you to get support early on from the course staff or the professor, and you can reach out to us. And the on-time submission deadline obviously determines your final submission. And it must occur before this deadline to be eligible for full points. Submissions after the on-time submission deadline will receive a penalty, and you can use slack days to avoid the penalty. Everyone gets up to a total of 10 slack days. This does not apply to part ones unless mentioned by the course staff. And you can use slack days to avoid this penalty, and you can distribute it across your homeworks, right? You become ineligible for the A+ or the extra credit portion if you're using your slack days, right? So even if you get, say, above 85%, as discussed in the previous example, in your slack days, right, you don't get the extra credit. You're only eligible for the extra credit above the 100 points if you submit, on time. Once you use up your slack days, all subsequent late submissions will accrue a 10% penalty on top of any other penalties. There will be no more submissions after the drop, like the late/slack deadline. The Kaggle leaderboards stop showing updates on the full submission deadline, but will continue to accept submissions, right? So we will set up another late Kaggle. So please make sure to submit there instead. And all of this will be, again, communicated to you via Piazza. So please keep track of everything on Piazza. And you can see the course webpage for a more complete set and an elaborate set of policies. So the course project, if you're taking 11485, this doesn't apply to you. But if you're taking 11785, you will be required to do a course project. 11685 students will be assigned a fifth homework that is equivalent to a project. Projects are done by teams of students. The ideal size is 4. We recommend that. 3 to 4. You don't want it to be too small or too big. 11685 teams are ideally 2-person teams for the fifth homework. You are encouraged to form your teams early on. You are also encouraged to think about ideas early on. If you don't have inspiration, feel free to reach out to TAs, myself and the other TAs, as well as the professor. You can always come and talk to us about your ideas and run them by us so that you have a head start on knowing what's viable maybe to do within the time frame that you have, what's something that's worth working on, what's something that's interesting, what's exciting, what's cool, right? So all of those you can reach out to us, and I highly recommend doing that earlier than later, right? Projects can range from implementing and evaluating cutting-edge ideas from recent papers. So you want to verifying results from hot published work. Researchy problems that might lead to publications if completed well, that's also possible and happens quite a bit. And proposing new models, learning algorithms, techniques with proper evaluation, right? The goal of the project is to exercise your ability and your skills that you've picked up from learning, during the homeworks and the concepts that you learn in the course, and using them, to do what we just discussed for researchy problems, new models, or implementing new cutting-edge ideas. Think about forming project teams as soon as possible, right? There's more details on the website. If you don't form your own teams, we will team you up. Each team must submit a project proposal by the deadline listed on the website, submit a midterm report 3/4 of the way through the semester, and submit a preliminary full report 3 days before the presentation due date. You are also supposed to make a 5-minute video presentation of the project. It can be presented by one, some, or all team members. It will be evaluated by the instructors, TAs, and your peers. Ensure that you explain the problem, the proposed solution, and the evaluation clearly. Allocate enough time to make the presentation. It isn't as easy as you think. The poor presentation can significantly affect your project score, so plan for this. You will also submit a final full report at the end of the semester. Defend your project in front of peers and TAs on Piazza, and templates for proposals and reports will be posted. Each team will be assigned a mentor from among the TAs who will monitor your progress and assist you if possible, right? More details will be posted as we go through the course. The project is often the most fun portion of the course, naturally, because you're implementing cool things, cool ideas, and working on researchy problems that you thought were impossible before, right? All of those things happen. All of the fun happens in the project. Grading, right? 14 weekly quizzes, bottom 2 dropped. The assignments, as you can see right there, total up to 50. Team project totals up to 25. There is a 1 mark for attendance, right? So there's a 50, 25, 24, and a 1 mark for attendance. As you can see, the division, the divided points for each of the homeworks, the quizzes, and the project is given right there on the slides. You can go through them. If you have any clarifications, feel free to ping us on Piazza. So preparation for the course. The course is implementation heavy. There's going to be a lot of coding, experimenting. We will work with some large data sets. The language of choice is Python, and the toolkit is PyTorch. You are welcome to use other languages or toolkits, but the TAs and the course staff will not be able to help you much with the coding or the homework, right? You may expect some support for TensorFlow, but we highly still recommend you stick with PyTorch. We hope you've gone through Recitation 0, which is optional. It doesn't carry any marks, but it equips you with the necessary, at least the information that you can use to bridge between what you've learned before and what you might need to know before starting this course. Course communication, like I mentioned, happens on Piazza. There's going to be class polls, there's going to be Q&As, announcements, reminders, student collaboration. There's also going to be instructor notes. All of them will be on Piazza. It might be overwhelming, but we still highly recommend you keep track, right? And make sure that you view all of the questions. More often than not, a question that you might have been answered somewhere on Piazza, right? And it most often is. So we highly recommend keeping tabs on Piazza, on the FAQ posts, right? Discussion posts, and that's your primary interface to the course staff. Teamwork. Learning happens best together. You will learn more from each other than you will learn from us. And I've personally experienced this, at least in my time on the course as a student. I learned the most with my teammates. We encourage teamwork, but there are strict rules as well, right? Starts with the course collaboration policy. The course collaboration policy is quite lenient in the form that we allow you to form study groups. Study groups can be groups of 4 students. We recommend 3 to 4 is the ideal range to ensure that you have a good amount of support being able to tackle the homeworks. If you don't have a study group, we will form one for you. And if you have any preferences as well, you will be able to indicate them. Please register on the forms posted on Piazza. Be on the lookout for forms. There might be tons of forms, so please make sure that you, for different purposes, that is, please make sure that you keep tabs and you fill those forms. And we will try our best to accommodate you in the best way possible. Everyone must be part of a study group because we don't want you to be on an uneven playing field. We would like you to be on an even playing field with everybody else. Each study group will be assigned a TA mentor for help throughout the course who will make sure and track your progress. If you need help, if you're struggling, you can reach out to that mentor for support, right? And study groups are extremely essential to help you tackle the workload in this course. And in my personal experience, having a good study group makes all the difference in your ability to handle stress as well as workload in this course, which can often be overwhelming or might be overwhelming if you do it individually, right? So what study groups may do, you can discuss homework problems, solutions, you can discuss research papers, you can discuss classwork, you can discuss quizzes. We encourage you to meet regularly to discuss IDL work. Meeting on a weekly basis to cover coursework is ideal. I used to do that with my study groups, and the course was substantially more easy to work with than without, 100%. So I used to meet to discuss quizzes, do homeworks, problem solutions. My study group also ended up being my project group, right? Study groups more often than not end up being project teams as well. So what are the caveats? What can you not do, right? You must solve the quizzes by yourselves. You can discuss the questions with your study group's friends, but when you solve the quiz, you should isolate yourself and do it alone. You can't really share answers and let each other know what was right or what was wrong. That's not what you're supposed to do. We don't want you to do that, right? The quizzes aren't supposed to be answered by a sample size of 4 students at a time. They're supposed to be answered by 1 student at a time. So you can discuss the questions, you can brainstorm ideas on how to solve the questions, but when you actually do end up answering the quiz, you have to do it yourself. Every student must solve every homework as well by themselves. You can discuss the homeworks, you can help debug the code, but when you finally solve it, every line of your code must be written by you and should not be copied, right? From another student or your study group teammates. Your solution must be yours. Plagiarizing code from the web or your friends constitutes cheating, and submitting solutions not obtained by you also constitutes cheating. You are here to learn IDL and DL by yourself. You aren't here to demonstrate how well your friend or GPT-4 or the guy on the web has learned DL, right? The fact of the matter is, it would do you better to not be replaced by GPT-4 in the future. So you are at CMU, which means you are among the brightest and best students in the world. You probably were among the top students in your peer group all your life before you came here. It will be an insult to yourself and everything you ever stood for to lower yourself from your own standards and start cheating. So please don't. We offer so much support and help as TAs, and the professor is so approachable, and you can always reach out to us for support if you need help. At any point, if you're struggling, you can always reach out to us and we will do our best to support you. And we've always done our best to do that and accommodate every student in the course. So as long as you recognize that you're struggling, please reach out to us. We can help you. You don't have to resort to cheating. If you're unsure whether you're doing something that might constitute cheating, you can just feel free to check with us, right, before you do it. So mentoring, like I said, every study group will be assigned a TA mentor. We will track your progress and reach out to you if you appear to be in trouble. If you're in trouble, reach out to your TA mentor or the instructor, the professor. If you feel you're falling behind, like I said, reach out. If you feel pressured, unable to cope, really stressed, we will try our best to help you, right? You can also watch Recitation 0I. The letter or the alphabet might change, but you can watch the Recitation 0 that deals with what to do when you're struggling to get a more detailed overview on what exactly you're supposed to do and the steps you can take, right? We aim to make this a successful course for all of you. In our ideal world, everyone performs well enough to get an A. Without lowering our standards, we would like to bring you all up to where we believe you deserve an A. Everything about this course is geared to that objective. We want to optimize towards getting everybody to perform well enough so that you get an A. Some of the challenges, right? The course is not easy. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work with 3 exclamation points, and a lot of work in bold with 4 exclamation points with an image saying not for chicken, right? But it is a lot of fun with a smiley face. So quizzes are to test your understanding on topics covered in the lectures. The homeworks are to teach you to implement complex networks. They're really fun. You will be covering a lot of domains, right? Speech, text, images, vision. And the projects are to expose you to real-world deep learning problems. And the target is anyone who gets an A in the course, you're technically ready for a deep learning job, right? You have all the expertise that is required to be able to take a problem, understand if deep learning is what's suited for it or not, and then be able to think of an approach to implementing something that solves that problem with deep learning, right? You will be able to do that if you get an A in this course. And you will also be able to work with teams because you're collaborating a lot. So I highly recommend that you use the avenues that we provide you with this course and try your best, collaborate with each other, with the course staff as well. Reach out to us. We're plenty in number and we'd more than be happy to help you. So Recitation 0, like I said, these are the initial labs that are supposed to bridge the gap between somebody who's very new to the course and is not sure whether or not they have some of the prerequisites that are required to at least get started with homeworks at the beginning of the course. So please watch watch all the videos and the exercises for these and complete them. And if you are facing any trouble or you need any help, you can reach out to us. These are essential for you to gain comfort, right? We want you to be comfortable going into the course because homework 1 is the easiest homework, right? And if you feel that homework 1 is too difficult, right, we don't want you to struggle with the course too much later on. So we would like to give you the support you need earlier than later, right? So if it seems a bit dense, please bear with it. It is worth it. Once you finish homework 1, it has many components that are intended to help you and are reusable later in the course. So questions, please post on Piazza. Feel free to post on Piazza for any clarification or doubts. Please do not email the TAs separately with their email IDs. We want you to post on Piazza. That's the central area that we would be able to deal with and help you, homogeneously for everybody. So do not reach out to TAs, DM them or email them. Your primary interface with the course staff should be on Piazza. We strive to respond for student queries within 3 minutes. We might occasionally slip, but please bear with us. We try to maintain the fastest response time possible with the amount of students in this course being a few hundred students and still being able to respond within 3 minutes. We take pride in that and we try to maintain that response time. So thank you for deciding to take this journey of deep learning with us. This is a note from Professor Bhiksha, the TAs, and myself, Vish. I'm looking forward to helping you. And if you have any question about the logistics, please reach out to us on Piazza and we would love to help you further. And do reach out to us if you need help with anything, whether it's forming study groups, whether it's forming project teams, thinking of project ideas. If you're unsure whether you want to take this course, you can still reach out to us and ask us. And we will let you know. We will help you. So we're there for you. That's really what I want to reassure, right? Please communicate with us. Communication often is what I've noticed that students fail to do or not comfortable doing. And if you can get over that hurdle, I know it's a big ask for some people to get over that hurdle, but if you can, I think you will have one of the smoothest experiences in this course in a supportive manner from the course staff and the professor. So please don't hesitate to communicate with us and don't feel intimidated by the professor or the TAs. We're very kind. Professor Bhiksha is the kindest person, right? Even if he comes off as intimidating in his lectures, he's still one of the most approachable professors on the 6th floor of the LTI with his office open, and you can go talk to him anytime. And you can also reach out to us TAs anytime on Piazza. So feel free to use all the office hours available to reach out to us for help. And we're looking forward to helping you and making sure that you become a deep learning ninja by the end of the semester. Thank you.